Well, good morning, church family. It is Sunday, April 5th, 2020, and I hope that you all have had a good week. I'm here to offer you more prayer prompts for your worship at home service this morning, and I pray that you're able to use these for the glory of God, and that maybe even throughout the week that these will be good prompts for you in your personal devotion time or even your family worship time throughout the week. So I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently than I have over the last 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, I've just basically given you four prompts of prayer, confession, thankfulness, and then just offering up requests. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this week by going through Psalm 90. Now, I'm not going to read Psalm 90 in all of its verses. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you different sections of Psalm 90, like verses 1 through 2 or verses 7 through 8. And I'm going to give you different prompts based on the different verses in Psalm 90. So you can, as a family, do this in a few different ways. You can read through the entire chapter and then pray through the prompts after you've read through the entire chapter, or you can read through the different sections I give and then pray through the prompts as you continue to read through the sections. So you can split it up, you can read it all together, it's up to you, or you can just pray through the prayer prompts. Do as the Lord leads you. But here's how I'm going to suggest that you do it. I suggest that you begin by reading verses 1 through 2, and that you would use verses 1 through 2 to guide you in praising God. So after having read verses 1 through 2, perhaps you could praise God for his creativity. Perhaps you could think about different things in nature that you see that bring you to a place of awe and wonder. Praise God for having created that thing. So go around as a family, talk about what it is they see in nature that brings them to a place of worship. And then think also about God's faithfulness. Consider for a moment maybe some things that you as a family or individually have gone through that you have seen God be faithful in. So different trials, different tribulations, maybe it's as recent as just this week. Some things that have taken place in your life where you've had to call out to God and trust in him to be your dwelling place. So praise God for being a creative God. Praise God for his faithfulness. And then go down to verses 7 and 8 and use those verses after you read them as a model for confession. So again, like last week, talk as a family about some sins that you see generally bubbling up in your family. Not individual sins. Don't go around confessing to each other all kinds of private, personal things. Just pray for general sins that you as a family are experiencing and confess to God what it is that you have been struggling with, and pray for forgiveness and pray for the right way forward and knowing how to do that wisely. Then I would suggest you go down to verses 9 through 11, read through those verses, and then consider the different toils and troubles as it refers to in those verses. Consider the things that you are experiencing as a family, maybe homework issues or unemployment. Perhaps that you're experiencing issues with pay right now, or you have too much time on your hands. Perhaps you could pray also for the toils and troubles that our country is experiencing, the different spiritual woes and economic issues that we're experiencing. Pray also for our church, the toils and troubles that are happening to our church members. Many people are lonely, and the leaders are getting tired, admittedly. Pray for each of these toils and troubles that they would be taken care of, and that God would work out his good purposes in each of these issues that the Lord is leading you to bring up. So you don't have to pray for the things I talked about. Think about toils and troubles that you are experiencing or others are experiencing, and pray for those things accordingly. Then after that, read verse 12 and pray for wisdom. Pray for wisdom in loving your family well. Pray for wisdom in adjusting to the new normal that is this quarantine. And then also preemptively pray for the wisdom you need to readjust to the very new normal that's going to come after all of this is over. When the quarantine comes to an end and the pandemic seems to die down, Pray for wisdom and knowing how to readjust to life in light of all these different changes that are going to come. Pray through verse 13. So pray for pity. Pray for pity to be shown on our missionaries who are risking their lives to continue serving. And pray also for one of three things. You can choose one of three things, or you can pray for all three of these things. It's up to you. Pray for pity to be shown on the homeless and the downtrodden in America. Pray for pity to be shown in churches in foreign nations, one of your choosing. And pray also for your compassion children, if you have them. Pray for pity to be shown on them. And then finally, pray for satisfaction. Verses 14, 15, and 16. Read those verses and pray that the Lord would grant each of your family members joyful time with him every single day, and that they would find satisfaction in him. Now there is one more thing. I know I said finally a minute ago, but there's one more thing. Read the last verse, verse 17, where it talks about establishing the work of our hands. Pray about creative ways to serve others, either in your family or in your church or even outside of your church. Pray that God would grant you different ways to creatively serve others in your community. That he would give you the energy and the means and the safety to do so. Of course, be safe. Keep social distancing regulations. Do that. But try to find creative ways, even if it's just praying for someone. Creative ways to serve and love on others this week. We love you, church. I'm thankful for this time I got to spend talking to you, even if it's through video. I pray that you would have a fantastic week and that God would be glorified in this quarantine that you and I are experiencing. Love you guys.